The drama surrounding heavyweight boxing reached a fever pitch once again in Saudi Arabia, where the world's eyes turned toward the ring to witness a clash that had been 3 years in the making. Anthony Joshua, the pride of London and a two-time heavyweight champion, returned to familiar soil, his every step watched with anticipation, and a mix of expectation and skepticism. Across the ring stood Oleksandr Usyk, the undefeated unified heavyweight champion of the world, a fighter whose quiet precision and lethal skill had reshaped what it meant to be a heavyweight in modern boxing. For Usyk, it wasn't just a fight. It was a defense of a legacy, a statement of dominance for his country, and the culmination of a career spent meticulously crafting his craft from Olympic gold to undisputed cruiserweight mastery, now fully realized that the heaviest awaits. The opening moments were electric with tension. Joshua entered the red corner, flanked by his head trainer, former world champion Robert Garcia. The London fighter's frame was imposing at 110.9 kilos, a body honed over years of triumphs and setbacks, bearing 12 knockout victories and the scars of 2 losses. Across from him, in the blue and yellow of Ukraine, Usyk made his entrance, a study in poise and focus. At 10.5 kilos lighter, he carried the weight of expectation for his nation and the aura of a fighter whose style had often confounded even the most powerful men in the division. As the referee called him to the center, the instructions were clear. Clean fight, respect the rules, but the tension was palpable. This was not just another match. This was redemption, rivalry, and the pursuit of immortality rolled into 12 rounds of pure warfare. From the first bell, the fight's narrative unfolded, like a symphony of strategy and skill. Joshua came out with intention, bending his knees, changing angles, tried to establish dominance in the early moments. Usyk, always analytical, tested him with crisp jabs and quick uppercuts, probing for weaknesses. Within moments, the dance of heavyweight boxing had begun. Joshua's powerful combinations targeting the body, Usyk's elusive counters threading through the guard, each punch carrying weight both literal and metaphorical. Observers noted the subtle tactical shifts. Joshua's body shots had always been a key to success, and tonight, under Garcia's guidance, he was determined to assert his physicality early. Usyk, however, was unflinching. Every straight punch down the middle, every flick of the jab was measured, a blend of art and science honed over years of high-level competition. As the fight progressed, Joshua began to assert himself more, but it was never straightforward. Usyk's movement was relentless, his feints and slips turning ordinary punches into dangerous openings for counters. Yet, Anthony's power and timing were undeniable. His left hook to the body landed repeatedly, punctuated by right hands that seemed to rattle the Ukrainian champion momentarily. The early rounds were a chess match of body versus mind, strength versus strategy. Commentators couldn't help but highlight Joshua's analytical approach. Variations in his combinations, the shift from jabs to hooks, and the deliberate attempts to control the center of the ring. Each move was calculated. Each landing shot a psychological nudge designed to assert control, without overcommitting. By the mid-rounds, the fight had taken on a rhythm that few could predict. Joshua's physical pressure began to pay dividends, his combinations landing with increasing frequency, though Usyk's defense remained near flawless. The Ukrainian's counters were sharp, his ability to slip inside and outside the lines of attack reminiscent of lighter-weight pound-for-pound greats. Every time Joshua seemed to gain momentum, Usyk reminded the crowd why he had never been defeated. A swift left, a counter over the top, and suddenly the narrative shifted. The two fighters were engaged not just in combat, but in a subtle psychological battle, each round a microcosm of strategy, endurance, and willpower. Observers noted the contrast in styles. Joshua, the powerful technician with a new level of aggression. Usyk, the fluid, unpredictable southpaw whose precision and timing had dismantled giants before. Round after round, the tension escalated. Joshua's body shots continued to accumulate, each blow designed not merely to hurt but to frustrate, to erode the confidence of a man who thrived on mobility. Usyk, for his part, adapted in real time, adjusting his angles, responding with calculated counters, and refusing to allow the narrative to tilt entirely in Joshua's favor. The choreography of the fight was mesmerizing. Left hooks to the body followed by snapping right hands over the guard, Uppercuts delivered with subtlety and precision, jabs flicked like surgical strikes. Fans and analysts alike marveled at the display of heavyweight boxing at its technical and strategic peak. It was not brute force alone that defined this fight. It was intelligence, adaptability, and an unyielding refusal to concede even a single inch without a fight. Joshua, for all his power, found himself pushed to the limits of both physical and mental endurance. Usyk's motion, his near-constant shifting of angles, and his deft-hand work were draining. Yet the British champion refused to relent. Every combination landed, every shot to the body, was an assertion of dominance and an appeal to the crowd that he was far from finished. And then, just as Joshua seemed to be asserting a degree of control, Usyk responded with flashes of brilliance. Straight lefts and snapping hooks reminded the audience that he was still the undefeated unified champion, still capable of seizing moments from the jaws of adversity. The tension was palpable. Every round carried with the potential for a dramatic swing, and every punch landed became a note in an escalating symphony of suspense. As the championship rounds approached, the battle intensified. Joshua's confidence had grown. His combinations became sharper, his body shots more insistent, as he could physically force the outcome in his favor. Usyk, however, remained unbowed. Each time Joshua launched a flurry, Usyk's defensive instincts, honed over decades of elite competition, allowed him to absorb and counter, turning what might have been devastation into opportunity. By now, the fight had transformed from a mere contest of strength and endurance into a showcase of mind and body, of experience meeting raw power, of two champions refusing to give quarter. The audience was on edge, witnessing a rare blend of technical mastery and high-stakes drama that only the heavyweight division can produce. Round after round, Joshua's body shots, his relentless pursuit, began to tell a story of physical attrition. He landed repeated hooks to the body, alternating levels, mixing speed with precision. Usyk, ever resourceful, absorbed the punishment, countered, and moved fluidly, but even Ukrainian began to show signs of cumulative toll. In the later rounds, Joshua's aggression reached a crescendo. He was no longer just asserting dominance. He was seeking the decisive moment, the punch that could tip the scales irrevocably. Yet Usyk, ever the tactician, responded with courage and skill, refusing to allow the narrative to swing completely in Joshua's favor. The ebb and flow of momentum became almost hypnotic. A left hook, a counter, a body shot, a defensive slip, each sequence unfolding like chapters in a high-stakes novel written at a furious pace. By the final rounds, both men were visibly exhausted, yet neither showed the faintest sign of surrender. The 11th and 12th rounds were particularly telling. Joshua, having executed some of the most dominant moments of the fight, pressed forward with combinations that had the crowd roaring, his physical dominance evident in each blow that landed on Usyk's midsection and head. Usyk, in a defiant display of skill and resilience, fired back with counters that were as precise as they were timely, refusing to allow the British challenger any sense of security. The contrast was stunning. Joshua's physicality against Usyk's cerebral approach, raw power versus refined skill, aggression against elusiveness. Each punch carried the weight of history, of previous encounters, and of the unspoken stakes that only a unified heavyweight championship can demand. In the end, when the final bell rang, both men stood exhausted, drenched in sweat, yet resolute. The fight had been a testament to the very essence of heavyweight boxing: power, precision, endurance, strategy, and heart. Usyk retained his title, the unified heavyweight champion of the world, his undefeated record intact, but the narrative was richer than mere victory. Anthony Joshua had shown renewed aggression, tactical sophistication, and physical dominance that elevated the entire spectacle. The drama, tension, and brilliance of the fight had enthralled audiences worldwide, reaffirming why these two men are among the elite in the sport, and why their rivalry will be remembered as a defining moment in heavyweight history. As the crowd roared and the champions embraced, the story of this fight lingered in the air, a tale of resilience, skill, and unrelenting pursuit of glory. Boxing, at its finest, is as much about mental fortitude as physical capability, and this clash exemplified that truth in every moment of the 12-round war. Anthony Joshua had proven he could rise again, adapt, and challenge at the highest level, while Oleksandr Usyk demonstrated that skill, timing, and precision remain as vital as brute strength in the heavyweight division. For fans of the sport, this was more than a fight. It was an epic, a battle that reminded the world why boxing remains timeless and why the heavyweight crown continues to captivate imaginations. What do you think? Could Joshua find the answer in a third fight? Will Usyk continue his reign as the most technically proficient heavyweight in the world? Or is a relentless pursuit of physical dominance enough to tip the balance in future clashes? Comment below with your thoughts on what could happen next in this remarkable saga of heavyweight boxing. And if you enjoyed reliving every moment of this epic confrontation, be sure to subscribe, and turn on notifications for more in-depth breakdowns of the world's biggest fights.